10 dream matches, AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling for you here on SCW. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave in the comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. Now, we've been dreaming about it for a long time. AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, potentially the idea of working together. In the last couple of months, we saw a couple of seeds in place. You go back to Chris Jericho's 30th anniversary, which was, of course, on Dynamite, and we saw Hiro Tanahashi come up on the video package there. And we fast forward to last week on Beach Break, of course, the AEW Dynamite special, and none other than KENTA turned up, of course, from the Bullet Club and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Moxley had not long as well before appeared in New Japan. It does finally feel like we're building towards that anticipated match. Of course, KENTA has been the #1 contender for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship for a little while now, and we're finally going to get that match, of course. But that also makes you think, well, finally we're going to get some form of AEW and New Japan working together. Of course, KENTA is going to be on Dynamite tonight, involved in a lights out tag team match, teaming with Kenny Omega against Lance Archer and Jon Moxley. We don't know at this point if the companies are working together just to get this match go on, or if it's going to grow and build into something more. But heck, I'm going to get carried away. Why not? Let's talk about the rosters together. AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. 10 dream matches I have put together here. And let me know what you think in the comments below. And I'd like to know what dream matches you would like to see between AEW versus New Japan. Now, I started off with Jon Moxley, and of course, we're getting the match against KENTA, so I'm going to go him against Okada. I think these two would have an amazing match and arguably have been the faces of the company for certainly to a certain degree. I mean, Okada's been the face of New Japan for many a year. Jon Moxley, though, has been flying the flag for AEW throughout 2020, being the AEW World Champion for most of their calendar year before losing the championship to Kenny Omega at Winter Is Coming. Now, of course, Omega and Okada faced many times before, so I decided to avoid doing that match, as we've seen it at least 4 times previously. But I think Mox and Okada is something we haven't seen. I think would be awesome as well. It certainly would be a match that I would consider a dream match and one that I would really like to see. I mentioned Kenny Omega, the current AEW World Champion. Well, let's have him against Kota Ibushi, the actual current IWGP Heavyweight Champion, of course, the Intercontinental Champion also. Now, this, of course, writes itself. These two are the Golden Lovers. They have much history in New Japan. Yes, they've faced before, but currently this Kenny Omega in AEW against Kota Ibushi, who's finally got to the top of the mountain in New Japan Pro Wrestling, becoming the top champion there. This feels like right now that this would be fancy booking at its best. There's so many layers that you can make to a really fun storyline between these two. So for that reason, I can't help myself. I need champion versus champion. I have gone for Kenny Omega against Kota Ibushi. We've gone with what I think are the faces of the companies, the champions of the companies, arguably the franchises of the company, the workhorses, if you want. Some that's not really at the World Championship stage at this point of the game, but certainly two that you can heavily rely on to put on a great match, put someone over in the meantime, as well as keeping themselves relevant. I'm talking Cody Rhodes against Hiro Tanahashi. I think that these two would be fantastic in a one-on-one encounter. Certainly would be one that I'd like to see. The face, arguably, you know, the executive of AEW. And Tanahashi, he's been there for years. He's been at the top of the card. Like I say, he's good at elevating superstars, at keeping himself put over as well. These two could fight in the first match of the card, in the middle, or towards the main event. It wouldn't harm either of them. I think these two would be very well suited in a one-on-one environment. Certainly would be a match I would love to see. Next, let's talk about Pac against Will Ospreay. These two, you know, those light heavyweight kind of superstars, those cruiserweight kind of levels, but have kind of stepped up a new style fighting heavyweight competitors as well. These two are unbelievable in the ring as well, and I think these two together, I just think my eyeballs would be very happy watching this match. I don't know about you. Pac versus Ospreay for me just screams 5-star. I think Meltzer is probably already trying to find a 6-star as we speak. I think these two would absolutely tear the roof off if they were to compete at Daily's Place or in the Tokyo Dome. Next, let's talk about Hangman Page against the Switchblade Jay White. Now, I think these two are very similar stature. I think there would be arguably an incredible encounter between these two. Jay White, of course, has been used to headlining the Tokyo Dome. Hangman Page at this point, of course, he's fought in Japan before. In AEW, you could argue at this particular point, maybe he's not quite at that level. He's not the main event level. He's kind of that upper mid-card level, looking to try and break himself into it. But I still think these two would have a stellar match. I think that these two would have an incredible match. And I think personally for me, this would be a must-see if there was ever an AEW New Japan Supercard, if you want, thrown together. I think these two would absolutely tear the roof off. Now, of course, when you look at New Japan Pro Wrestling, stables are a big thing. So I've gone for a stable versus stable match for you next now. And we have history of Chris Jericho and Naito. So I've gone for the Inner Circle against LIJ. Now, you can pick whichever 5 members of the Inner Circle that you like here to compete in this 10-man tag team match. But for me, I think the likely of this would be that Santana and Ortiz would be the two that would miss out. I can't see Chris Jericho not having Jake Hager involved. If MJF was involved as well, I can't see him not wanting to use Wardlow. Sammy Guevara is that sort of missing piece of the puzzle. There is friction with the Inner Circle at the time of recording as well, so it'd be interesting to see if they would actually remain on the same page. I would love to see Santana Ortiz in the match, so I think it would be better than seeing Hager and Wardlow at this particular time, in personal opinion. But for me, stable versus stable is a lot of fun. I would have liked to have done Bullet Club versus Bullet Club, but of course, the Good Brothers right now with Kenny Omega, it's not really, a thing. And plus, the Good Brothers, they're part of Impact Wrestling. They're not a part of AEW at this point, even though they're competing at AEW. Maybe that's a different video for a different day if we can mash all 3 companies together. But for this one, I've gone for Inner Circle against LIJ. I certainly think that there's history with this, and I think definitely stable versus stable, always a lot of fun. I think these two stables make a hell of a program if they were put together. Next, let's take things out of this division. Let's go to what would be kind of like the junior heavyweight championship sort of division that you'd look at in sort of New Japan. Of course, those sort of lighter, smaller in stature superstars that can still throw out fantastic matches, not only flips but hard hitting and great wrestling as well. Of course, Ishimori for the Bullet Club would be my choice on one side. Ray Phoenix would be my choice on the AEW side. I think these two together, I don't know, I just think myself, wow, but just even thinking about the idea of this match, the high-flying sort of ability that you can see from a Ray Phoenix, that, like I said, the great in-ring style as well you've got from Ishimori, who can also high-fly as well. For me, it's just got a wow factor about this match, and again, it's just one of those that I would really, really love to see. Let's go into one of AEW's main strengths, and then, shall we, let's go into the tag team division. Let's have a dream tag team match that I think would be in many people's eyes here. I don't think this is just me thinking this one. I'm talking from AEW's FTR, that's right. Former, of course, the Revivals. Of course, it's Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler against the GOD. Wow. For me, I think that this would be amazing. I feel that FTR one day will compete in Japan. If they can get some sort of partnership going here, I think that I could see them these two teams competing one day. I think it's Wrestle Kingdom kind of caliber written all over it. These two have got great chemistry as tech teams, and usually whoever they face, they can bring up fantastic matches. I think together, this just would be awesome. For me, I think it's the biggest dream match you could probably do for tag team wrestling between these teams. Of course, the Young Bucks have already competed in New Japan quite a lot, so for me it would be hard to find a dream tag team scenario at this point, but I would say with FTR, they're definitely alien. They've not done wrestling in Japan. They've spent most of their time in WWE. They've been in AEW now for the last 6 to 8 months or so. It's coming up to not far from a year now. And of course, if they would have put in a Japanese environment, there's so many great tag teams they could face. For me, GOD though would top that list. Next, let's go into some comedy, shall we? Orange Cassidy against Yano. Now, for me, this is brilliant. We've got the laziness, the whatever environment of Orange Cassidy against kind of the cheating, if you want, Eddie Guerrero style of Yano. Of course, probably selling his DVD as well. I don't know if he's still doing that currently in New Japan, but those two together, I think, would be quite a lot of fun to watch. It's one of those great comedy elements, and Yano is a great comedy wrestler in New Japan. He's always entertaining me when I do tune in and watch New Japan. Cassidy, he's got that vibe as well in AEW. Just would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? Throw these two together in the squared circle. We're right at number 10 then, so here's an outside of the box one I've got for the last one. I've gone for Darby Allin against Jeff Cobb as my last choice, and my reason for it is because Darby Allin and Brian Cage have had some fantastic matches in ring. Jeff Cobb can wrestle. Doesn't matter if it's against the heavyweights or the light heavyweights. Jeff Cobb is fantastic in the ring. He's so versatile. He's shown that with his matches, of course, in Ring of Honor as well. And of course, they had the Ring of Honor New Japan Supercard show where he faced Will Ospreay at that point, which was a fantastic match. Jeff Cobb also has been in Lucha Underground. Let's not forget as well, facing a lot of those sort of light, sort of flippy kind of superstars as well in that environment and put some amazing matches. So for me, I think Darby Allin versus Jeff Cobb would be underrated as a dream match, but certainly I think would have the potential to be an amazing encounter. The only thing I would do differently to what I've seen when we've seen Darby Allin against Brian Cage, I would have Jeff Cobb going over. I just think Darby wouldn't be believable in the winner environment here for me, but the fact that he has that never say die attitude, he keeps getting up and keeps coming back for more, however brutal the encounter is, yeah, I think this one would be one to keep an eye out for. One last match I'm going to do, because I've done 10 matches, I like to throw a bonus in for some of these, and I did mention Young Bucks earlier on, and I said that it'd be hard to throw them in that tag team environment. There is one tag team match I'd like to see, but I didn't think it quite made the cut for the 10. I'd like to see the Young Bucks against Zack Sabre Jr. and Tai-Shi. Those two together as a tag team, I haven't seen so much of them, I must admit, but when I watched them, actually just this recently in New Japan in the last few months, and particularly at the Wrestle Kingdom against the GOD, I was really impressed with their tag team match there. And I've been a big fan of Zack Sabre Jr. for many a year. I think he's been fantastic in singles environment, but singing with Tai-Shi, I thought they made a really good tag team. So I would say if I was to pick one tag team for the Young Bucks to face, I think this would be the team I would pick, and I think it would be a really, really good match to see. So that's my dream matches there for AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. What are your thoughts? If you like it, hit the thumb up, and of course let me know in the comments below if I have picked some of your favourites, and if I haven't picked some of your favourites, what matches would you like to see between AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling? Should there ever be some form of supercard, working relationship? Hell, we can dream. Why can't we dream? We're in the wrestling community, and this is all just a bit of fun. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Say, please like and share the video. Subscribe if you haven't already, on the road to 800 subscribers. And make sure to keep an eye out for other videos that will be dropping on the channel this week. But that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Take care. I will see you next time. Have yourselves a great day.